12. The place we reached to climb down the bank was craggy, and because of the creature there, also a path that every eye would shun. The descent of that rocky precipice was like the landslide that struck the left bank of the Adigè, this side of Trento, caused by an earthquake or by faulty buttress, since the rock is so shattered from the summit of the mountain where it started to the plain, that it might form a route for someone above. And to the top of the broken gully lay stretched out the infamy of Crete, the Minotaur. Conceived on Pasiphae and the wooden cow. When he saw us, he gnawed himself like someone consumed by anger inside. My wise guide called to him, "Perhaps you think that Theseus, the Duke of Athens, is here, who brought about your death in the world above? Leave here, you monstrous creature. This man does not come here, aided by your sister Ariadne, but passes through to see the punishments. Like a bull breaking loose at the moment when it receives the fatal blow, it cannot go forward but plunges here and there, so acted the Minotaur. And my cautious guide cried, 'Run to the passage while he is in a fury. It is time for you to descend.' So we made our way downwards over the landslide of stones, which often shifted beneath our feet from the unaccustomed weight. I went lost in thought, and he said, 'Perhaps you are contemplating this fallen mass of rock guarded by the bestial anger that I quelled a moment ago. I would have you know that the previous time I came down here, the deep Inferno, the spill had not yet fallen. But if I had discerned the truth, the deep and loathsome valley shook not before he came to take the great ones of the highest circle. So that I thought the universe thrilled with love, by which some believe the world has often been overwhelmed by chaos. In that moment, ancient rocks here and elsewhere tumbled. But fix your gaze on the valley. Because we near the river of blood. Into which those who injure others by violence are boiled. Oh, blind desires, evil and foolish, which so goad us in our brief life, and then in an eternal one ruin us so bitterly. I saw a wide canal bent in an arc, looking as if it surrounded the whole plain. From what my guide had told me, centaurs were running, one behind another, between it and the foot in the bank, armed with weapons as if they were accustomed to hunt on Earth. Seeing us descend, they all stood still, and 3 elected leaders came from the group, armed with bows and spears. And one of them shouted from the distance, "What torment do you come for? You that is descend the rampart. Speak from there, if not, I draw the bow." My master said, "We make our reply to Chiron, who was nearby. Sadly, your nature was always rash." Then he touched me and said, "That is Nessus, who died because of his theft of the lovely Deianira, and for her his love took vengeance through his blood. The one in the middle whose head is bowed to his chest is the great Chiron, who nursed Achilles. The other is Pholus, who is so full of rage. They race around the ditch in thousands, pierce with arrows any spirit that climbs further from the blood than its guilt has condemned it to." We drew near the swift creatures. Chiron took an arrow and pushed aside his beard with his face with a notched flight. When he had uncovered his huge mouth, he said to his companions, "Have you noticed that the one behind moves whatever he touches? The feet of the dead men do not usually do so." And my good guide, who was by Chiron's front part when the two natures joined, replied, "He is truly alive, and I have alone have shown him the dark valley." Necessity brings him here, not desire. She who gave me this new duty came from singing alleluias. He is no thief, nor am I a wicked spirit. But by that virtue by means of which I set my foot on so unsafe a path, lend us one of your people whom we can follow, so that he may show us where the ford is, and carry this one over on his back, since he cannot fly as a spirit through the air." Chiron twisted to his right, then said to Nessus, "Turn and guide them. Then, and if another crew meet you, keep them off." We moved onwards with our trustworthy guide along the margin of the crimson boiling, in which the boil were shrieking loudly. I saw people immersed in as far as the eyebrows. And the great centaur said, "These are tyrants, who indulged in blood and rapine. Here they lament their offenses, done without mercy. Here is Alexander and fierce Dionysius of Syracuse, who gave Sicily years of pain. That head of black hair is Azzolino, and the other, which is blonde, is Obizo de Este, whose life was quenched in truth by his stepson up in the world." Then I turned to the poet, and he said, "Let him guide you first from now, and I second." A little further on, Nessus paused next to the people who seemed to be sunk in the boiling stream up to their throat. He showed me a shade. He showed us a shade, apart by itself. Saying, "That guy, de Montfort, in God's church pierced that heart that is still venerated by the Thames." Then I saw others who held their head in chests likewise free of the river, and I knew many of these. So the blood grew shallower and shallower until it only cooked their feet, and here was our ford through the ditch. The centaur said, "As you see the boiling stream continually diminishing on this side, so on the other, it sinks more and more till it comes again to where tyrants are doomed to grieve. Divine justice here torments Attila, the scourge of the earth, and Pyrrhus and Sextus Pompeius, and for eternity milks tears, produced by the boiling, from Renier de Cornetto and Renier Pazzo, who made war on the highways." Then he turned back and recrossed the ford.